Have you ever thought about connecting with your galactic family and being a part of the many starseed races? Well, today we're going to talk with Dr. Christopher Macklin, where we talk about the extraterrestrials of this world and other worlds and how to be a part of the Galactic Federation, which he is a prominent member. And we're going to touch on how in many diseases of the human race, and some are part of manufactured diseases. And we're going to talk how to raise your vibrations to heal ourselves and ward off negative entity forces. All this on today's show. I'm Tony Sweet with Truth Be Told. Please welcome back to the Truth Be Told studios, the one and only Dr. Christopher Macklin. Well, welcome back, Mr. Macklin. How are you?
Yay, thanks, Tony. I'm wonderful. Thanks for having me back.
No, I'm excited. We had a great time last time, and I know we're going to do it again. And, a lot has happened since we've talked, and the world has changed a lot. And we'll get into that at the end, I think, at the end of the show. But I kind of wanted to start, you've written so many books. I think 6 books and probably many love letters to your partner there.
Absolutely.
But first of all, what inspires you for each of these books? What's one of the biggest things that you want to get across to the audience, and also just to kind of get off your chest and get out to the world?
I think, when I first started, I wanted to describe how the healing works, because I think it's really important to understand, what the cause and effect is. And of course, as you know, I've got dyslexia, so it's very difficult for me to write books, but I can dictate it, I can channel it, so I channel the books. And the good thing about ghostwriters is, of course, when they don't understand something, because, it's just like a splodge of blah, it's all there. Right. And they say, well, hang on, whoa, hang on. What about, I don't understand this, I don't understand that. So the good thing about having a ghostwriter, which we do have, is that they can pull the information and make it understandable to other people. But, the first book I wrote was Dissolving the Enigma of Divine Healing, understanding how it worked. It's kind of different than other modalities in effect, because, there's a whole slew of different things we do, and right. I always tell people, look, you've got a gift. Don't use other people's modalities, because really it's their perception of how their understanding of healing works. To me, it's very important to channel and understand your own gift, So that did that. And then, of course, we did define transcendence, talking about what's going on in the world and, opening people up. I wanted people to understand that there's symbology, there's all sorts of things, basically, that are affecting people's mindsets. Then we did the manifestation, talking about manifestation. I wanted people to understand, to me, manifestation, we do have a manifestation technique. It's called the Magi, which is part of the MELCHIZEDEK Being manifestation technique. It's symbology. You have to do, and you have to kind of, do all the symbology, the Magi symbology, and then release it, which is great. But to me, you should be manifesting second by second, hour by hour, by changing your mindset to positivity. And I wanted to, get people to understand that really, to me, manifestation is a way of life. It involves gratitude. It involves God's got your back, complete surrender, and don't worry about money, because it's not just manifesting money. It's manifesting all the things you need in your life, to all the instruments to be able to get out there and do your work, So we wrote that, and then we worked Center of the Minds, because, of course, the nation, all over the world, all nations are really having a hard time at the moment. So we gave exercises and understanding the mind, basically giving advice on, setting boundaries, getting your own bubble so that you can actually operate and have people who actually adore you and love you and aren't going to shame you for anything. And, that's important, stop being a people pleaser, all these sort of things, these ideas. And we also did a brain series, because people have got ADD, ADHD, OCD. I've got OCD, and of course PTSD, especially right. now. So that really helped. The brain series is actually it's a healing meditation. Basically, what we're doing is releasing emotion related to that condition, and then working on the neurochemical balance. Serotonin's in the adrenals, release the adrenals. the rest of it, GABA, dopamine, and all those things are released in the brain. So I got them to work on the glands in the brain to help rebalance that so it gets rid of these conditions. And I've had a lot of psychiatrists, psychologists who are using these things now, and they're really working. They really help. So, I want to help people. And of course, the amazing one is, is the history, truth, and healing of manufactured diseases. And it's interesting because I wrote this book talking about Morgellons, Lyme, HIV/AIDS, Agent Orange.
Right.
I wrote that, and then nothing happened with it. And I said, okay, I need to get someone to edit it. And I gave it to somebody, it didn't happen. Gave it to somebody else, didn't happen. I said, okay, God, what's happening? You're not meant to release it. It's missing something. Oh, okay. So I shelved it. And then we came across a protocol to get these things out of the body. And it's basically based on the Akashic record. It splits your timeline into the timeline you are now and separates the stuff out of the body. As soon as I found that, we completed the book, put it out there. And up to now, we wrote that and released it about 2 years ago. And we've worked on over 350 people with Lyme, HIV/AIDS, Agent Orange, Morgellons, and it's completely got rid of it. It's been incredible. So I'm really excited. It is a very different protocol. It's a 20-week program. So, if people do have those diseases, please take a look at it. It's an intense program, but it really does work.
I think, and you have this last one, those sacred prayers. Is that what is that? Oh
yeah, I forgot the sacred prayers. Yeah, absolutely. Sacred prayers, when you're doing healing, and I see a lot of people don't realize this, it's really important to protect yourself with different things. Like you've got spiritual attack prayer. There's beings in a different dimension trying to shut you down. As much as you try and get your light and your vibration up, they're trying to shut it down, send you thoughts, attach to you, whatever they try and do. And so, we created a slew of prayers, but the most important one to me is the 27 esoteric Merkaba field prayer. And what that does is it puts 27 esoteric Merkaba fields around, and it really helps to stop these entities reattaching to you. If you say it 3 times a day, it keeps them out. Whilst you're getting your vibration up, once you've got your vibration up, you're good to go because, your vibration's way above them. They can't even get near your energy field. So, I always look at my job, I don't believe in gurus and all this stuff is a thing of the past. And, you are your own guru, and I encourage people to get back to your sovereign self, take your power back.
Right.
Because when you do, and when you get your vibration up there, I've seen it, we work on thousands of people, 20,000 people a week. And, we get so many reports, oh my God, when you're leaping out of bed in the morning, going, oh my God, I feel incredible. And you're excited for the day. That not just are you in divine alignment, but you've probably found your passion and your gift that you really enjoy. This is a way of life to me. I do it day in, day out. It's not really a job, and it's exciting.
Well, I mean, this just hearing these books brings up so many questions, but one of the questions that really popped out in my head while you were talking about this, when you say gifts, a lot of people go through life and they don't ever find a gift, or I guess. Can a gift be considered a purpose? And if that is true, how do people find that gift? Is it because of the people around them, an energy, I wouldn't say a curse, but because it seems like a lot of people are just so unhappy and they just never seem to find that something in their life that they feel that they're good at, or their destiny.
No, you're right. I see it all the time. First of all, starseed people who have volunteered to come down here, of which there are many. I hear, well, I don't belong here.
Right. I hear it all the time.
This is not my planet. Well, that'll be true. I said, don't try and belong here. You're different. So what you need to do is take a step back. Don't try and be normal, in the word of normal human being.
Right.
You're going to have some sort of thing like ADD, ADHD. I've got OCD, I've got ADD, attention deficit. There's various forms of it. My wife won't let me buy a motorcycle because she said, well, you're in the ethers more than you're down here and you're not concentrated.
Right.
And I kind of don't blame her because she's right, But I think, first of all, recognize that, and get around people who really get you, because if you get around the average person on the street, they're going to think, oh my God, you're nuts, and of course, from their perspective, you are. Right. But I think the other thing about it is that you have to spend time, I think people People are too busy with their lives, busy for the sake of being busy, and they're not taking a step back. For me, when I discovered my gifts, I had to meditate for quite a long time, like 2-3 months, and, I'd gone bankrupt, had no money, all disappeared, marriage disappeared. And so
Right.
I meditated 4-6 hours a day.
Wow.
And did that and nothing happened. And then I got to about 2.5 months and nothing was happening. I said, well, guys, I'm not going to stop. So yeah, going to show up eventually. And it's interesting. One thing I learned about the off-planet beings is they show up when they realize that it's serious. And they, because, people might say, oh, yeah, I'll give you 5 minutes. Well, I've got to go because we've got, dinner there and doing that, they're too busy. But they want to see people show up because they're not going to, it sounds brutalist, but they're not going to waste their time on people who are going to just, oh, well, yeah, I've got my gift. Right, okay, let's go back to work. And, they're doing nothing. And I think the other thing is surrender. When I was taken bankrupt and sitting in another Manchester going, well, I've got no money for food, and what do I do now? And God, this is not funny, because I've had 21 years of work, I've lost millions of pounds, and now I've got nothing, and I've just got 2 Walmart bags with a couple of shirts, and this is not funny. They said, well, it's the right time, I remember them saying that. I said, what do you mean it's the right time? It's the right time. You'll see it. And by goodness, I did see it. It was an amazing journey. But I think, I allowed myself to just surrender, and really start understanding life, understanding what made me happy. I loved doing the healing. I could see things. And from that, they started to channel and make me understand cause and effect of things like leukemia, like, all these things, cancers and cystic fibrosis. And from that, they taught me, and they still teach me today. This protocol came about just accidentally. Someone with Morgellons, which is nanoparticles in their body, she did the Morgellons she did the Akashic Record meditation clear, and the stuff turned on and went nuts. Oh, it doesn't like this. Why is that? And anyway, started poking around and understood that we came across the new protocol, which is timeline splitting. It's incredible. So, you never stop learning. It's amazing.
Oh, for sure. No, I'm the same way. I was never a follower. I was never peer pressured. I was that kind of an introvert, and I actually am proud introvert when it comes to, I didn't need to be the part of the crowd. Even though I can be in the crowd, I don't need to be a part of it. So for me, I think it actually benefited me. And one thing that you said about surrendering, I think, people like yourself, you said OCD. Sometimes OCD people are very hard about giving up control. I'm the same way. I don't like giving up too much of my control. So when I'm saying, oh, I'm just going to surrender, and, in the religious, Christianity, the same way, I'll give it to God. Well, how does one get past that giving and surrendering control of your life and your destiny if it's hard for you in this world to give up that? How do we break down those walls?
I think what you have to do is start releasing the emotion around the OCD or the ADD. And we have a fast, track method. So if you think about this, human beings on this planet are ingesting 150,000 layers of emotion. It's way, way too much for a human being. That's why everyone's sick. They've got intestinal issues. The adrenals are crashed. The liver's not functioning. Thyroid's off balance because all this emotion from the heart goes into other chakra points and bleeds in there.
Right.
And so I think releasing that emotion first, but also changing the patterns. My wife taught me a lot, Mandy. I married her 4 years ago, and I was pretty, I'm kind of British, I call it, you can chew a corn on the cob, stick it up the bop, and you're a little bit like that. You know what I mean? So,
that's why you walk funny. No, I was kidding.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a little bit like that, a little bit,
right.
Everything has to be precise. And Mandy's the opposite. She's my counterpart. And she taught me so much, because, I adopted a daughter, Arabella, which is now my daughter. She's autistic. She's 15. She's nonverbal mainly, but she's getting better and better and better. But when I first adopted her, she used to, be quite violent, bite you and all sorts of things. And,
wow.
We've got to go over that. And also she used to turn the faucet on the floor, switch it on and flood the house. And it taught me a lot about letting go. And, although when I went bankrupt, I realized stuff doesn't matter, I still didn't want to get it damaged. And it took me to a new level of, just don't worry about it. It's okay. It's people that matter. The only thing I'm OCD now is pantaloons, and I think because when I was actually bankrupt and I was living literally out of a car, I think I ended up with this OCD about clothes and have to be in the right space. So, but I'm not really OCD about much else anymore. I kind of, it's okay, But you do have to change the patterns, and I think you have to train your thoughts, and it takes a lot of work, I think, because when you feel like, oh, hang on, and then you think, hang on, let's sit with it a minute. Why am I feeling that? Oh, because actually it doesn't matter. So then you can transmute that pattern, and if you keep doing it, eventually, you'll transmute them. But it does take a lot of work. You've got to manage your thoughts all the time.
And I think so. I think you have to also be ready for it.
Yeah.
Because I know I've tried it when I was in a younger age, and even though my mind still goes 100 miles an hour, I know how to block out more things now than I used to. So I think that's just part of aging. One thing that you talked about is a starseed. What I think a lot of people, this is my opinion, a lot of people get confused of God, the Christian God, and Buddha, and all the other gods in Hinduism, which is there's hundreds of them, the Greek mythology, all these different gods that throughout human history, but also a lot of people nowadays, especially in ufology, are starting to think they're one and the same. What is your theory on that? On what God is, and what connection, like angels and extraterrestrials, are they the same, one and the same, or what? Yeah, what is your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, some of them are, I define God as God, Goddess, prime creator of all that is. And that's the true one prime creator, in my opinion. Of course, people have different opinions. And what I've seen is that, there's been various people come down to help teach as volunteers. And they've gone through a heck of a lot of stuff. Look at Jesus, look at Buddha,
Right.
These are actually MELCHIZEDEK beings. I've got Buddha here actually behind me,
Oh, nice.
So I don't know if you could see the painting. But they're ascended masters, and I think they've come down to try and help people, change their way of life at different times. And I know a lot of ascended masters have come down for the last 4,000 years, a number of times, to be able to get to this point right now, because this is it. This is the biggest change we're ever going to have. So there are ascended masters, like Archangel Michael, for example. A lot of people talk to him. He's an ancient Palladian. Is he angelic? Yeah, absolutely. He's, to me, angelic souls are when people are evolved and, they've kind of volunteered to come back here, but they don't really need to. They've volunteered to help people move forward, or, he's in the ethers talking to people through channeling. And the same with Mother Mary, MELCHIZEDEK being. So it's really important. So, starseeds are people really who are evolved. They don't have to come back. They could just stay over there, but they volunteer. God says, well, the prime creator says, well, we need volunteers. Yeah, I'll do it. And then you get down here, oh my goodness,
like,
what was I thinking?
Did I put myself into?
I want to go back.
Right.
Especially when you're just coming out of the womb and the IRS said, oh, welcome to Earth. Here's your invoice.
Right. And your parents remind you of that.
Yeah, so there's a lot of angelic beings. Is Mother Mary angelic? Well, yeah, absolutely. And Jesus the Christ, and you've got Buddha, you've got Babaji, and you've got a number of because MELCHIZEDEK is my lineage. I was brought down here. I've got 80% MELCHIZEDEK DNA to get the soul in. So, and other people as well, like Arcturians, tend to be spliced in at birth. They're not a natural mother and father. They may use like the egg, but then what they'll do is your father's off planet because, you've been spliced here. So like my father's not my father. I mean, the guy's nuts, bless him. And, do I get on with him? Well, not really. He just berates you all the time, and of course you've got this stuff going on about various things,
Right.
separation of families. You didn't take something.
Right.
No, that would be no. So it's interesting,
No, it is interesting, and I always said, if Jesus came down today, nobody would believe him, and I think because of the technology we have and the distractions we have, for those that believe in the Christian faith, it's or any other type of religious or guru, not guru, divine. What did you call him? A divine, like Jesus. What do you,
ascended masters, yeah.
ascended masters? So how would we know that now? Because it's almost like they would have to do like these magical tricks just to get us to believe. Because we or are there masters here now that are making a difference that they're not as
they're all
ascended.
Here now, and they're all actually on a honor that they would never tell people their past lives, and because it doesn't actually matter who you were.
Right.
It matters actually what you do now. And to me, if it takes a circus trick to get someone to believe, then
Right.
what's the point?
Yeah, what's the point?
I do healings every day, and I know some of the other MELCHIZEDEK beings come back. They're doing different ones, doing sacred geometry.
Right.
They're all doing different things, and I know some of the Palladians they're helping. Doing healings and things, and Acturians. The Acturians work very closely with us. They're back. It's just like you say, what's the point in even mentioning who you were in the past, or
right?
Because it doesn't matter, because people say, "Oh yeah, whatever," and then they'll walk off thinking you're
right.
more nuts than what you really are.
Right, right. It's true. It's true. And who are some of the starseed races? And can you talk about where they're from, or is it just multiple different starseeds?
There's a number of them. I mean, there's lions. There's Palladians from Pallades, of course. There's Adlantarians and Adlantarian time. A lot of them are under the planet, helping here. People don't realize that. The Sirius A and B, also from the same constellation. They've come down. There's actually the Acturians. They're in a different dimension, 9th and 12th dimension. And in fact, we're working very closely with them because we've got a huge project to do, which is basically a pyramid project. Building off-planet pyramids are going to bring them here. And that's moving forward pretty quickly. One of the problems has been about it is we have to get something like 100,000 acres in the right place over a ley line, because these things are going to be like 1,000, 666 feet tall, 333 feet tall. They're huge. So, it's the wrong time to bring things like that down now because, of course, the current political climate is not tantamount to be able to accept those, I think. So it's been delayed till next year, but it's moving forward. And, if you think about it, I think it's really going to help people, because if things just drop out the sky and suddenly appear one day, people say, oh my God, there is a God, and they'll want to come and see them. So that's why, most of the money we're trying to raise, which with top banking people who are white hats, is actually to create an infrastructure so people can have food and, get drinks and meditation gardens and everything else. The pyramids are free, the land's obviously not free because we've got to purchase it, and they will really help the planet accelerate the energy to this 5D thing. Because, I've had so many readers say, oh, we're 60% there. And are you sure you're on the right planet? Because I'm not seeing it, I mean, I know we're about 2.4, 2.5% people awake at the moment. It's not enough. It's got to get to 8.7. But there's another thing as well, is that the reptilian element under the planet, the dark people like the Draconians, Anunnaki, you've got the Luciferians attached to the Vatican. These guys want us out and off the planet because they want to come up. So that's why, people like Gates and all these people want to put chemtrails to block out the sun, so it'll reduce the plant life. And of course, the oxygen will reduce. so they can come up and breathe oxygen. Of course, that's not good for us. So there's a little bit of a battle going on at the moment of of the planet. We're winning, but there's certainly a battle going on. It's very interesting, actually.
So that's curious, because here's my take on that. How come they would even wait until the 21st century when we have some type of technology, when 300 years ago we had no technology other than swords and a mule? Why wouldn't they just take over the world then? I mean, I'm just curious, because I just always thought, why wouldn't they wait until we have no technology until now when we do have technology?
I think it's a lot to do with free will and universal laws. And to me, here's the deal. If you look at what's going on now, they're trying to mandate things and take it to the absolute precipice,
right?
But without saying, I'm going to do it to you, But they're taking things to the precipice, and I think they can't overrule certain universal laws. For example, all the things that happen and have been in films, they've been on various cartoons, they've been telling people bluntly and blatantly, and even the symbology coming on, some of the stars, it's blatant satanic things, except people just don't see it, and so, but they have to warn before they do. So there's a whole slew of universal laws they have to still adhere to. So it's interesting. It's really interesting. You can't just come and wipe out the whole nation. I mean,
right?
They can. And they're also blocked, of course. Nuclear weapons are blocked, so they wouldn't be able to let those off. The Actorians monitor them all the time. So, and I know they could have accidentally got off a number of times, but they've disabled them. So, and they will keep disabling them.
Well, you work pretty close with Actorians, don't you?
Yeah. We've got actually, believe it, we've got some watchers. I went to a ranch once, and it was interesting. He had a problem with the greys, the tall greys. And what was happening is a portal was opening, and it was a ranch where they had horses, and it was a sanctuary for them. And you get up one morning, and like one of the horses was completely dismembered and half eaten.
Oh my God!
And it was nuts. So I went down there for the weekend, and I managed to get the portal open before we closed it. As soon as I opened it, there was like a sonic boom. It was about 300 feet above. Things were dropping out, and suddenly the Actorian craft appeared. We have 3 craft that, like the watchers, who kind of protect you. So if things get crazy, they'll take you off planet,
right? Because
they haven't got time to rebirth you, because they need you now, sort of thing. So yeah, we worked pretty close with them. And it was interesting because the craft just appeared, and it was about a mile away. They were going like 1 to 3, just sitting there, and I was playing with this portal, and then I look around, and you can see the military helicopters going around these things. What do we do with these? And the answer is just leave them alone. It's okay. And then as soon as I close the portal, bang, they're gone. So yeah, we do. We also clear the crystalline structure around the planet. There's a very interesting crystalline structure, which allows you to do telepathy. So what's happening is the thing fills up with all this hatred and fear and different energies, to the point where people start to feel despair. So that's why, again, in the prayer book, we have a prayer to remove the collective energy and send it back to God, because you don't need to feel it. It's not yours.
Right.
And I think we clear that once a week, and that used to be enough. Now it's not. It's filling up so fast because things are getting more south. So we do quite a bit for the planet.
Well, you're talking about opening of portholes. How hard is it to find them, or how hard is it to open them? Can you open them anywhere, or does it have to be on a ley line or a certain energy field? How do you find them, and how do you open them, or how do you even close them?
Well, I can open portals. I think, again, some of it's a gift. I can open portals. Every day when we work with somebody,
right,
we put 8 portals around them and then bond it into Merkaba fields. So what that means from the ultimate dimension is the Melchizedek beings can come through that portal and do psychic surgery on people. And the person's protected because, no entities can mess about whilst the healing's going on. So that is a portal. There are certain portals around the world, Stargate type things, and certain places where they can open and close portals. and they're just kind of there. So what you need to do is kind of shut that whole portal system down. And that's what I did that weekend. It took me about a day and a half to open it. But once we opened it, you could see like these craft dropping out the sky. It was nuts, beings, craft, and then what I did is just shut it down with the MELCHIZEDEK beings, and it was shut down for good. And he didn't have any problems with the greys afterwards, So,
well, I think when I've talked to many people about, it seems to be always the grays. A few times it might be another, the humanoids or something like that, but mostly the grays seem to be the most interested in experimenting on us or with us. Why do you think that is? Why is the grays seem to be like the scientist of the orangutans of Planet of the Apes?
Well, I mean, they destroyed their planet with nuclear weapons and everything else, and also because of the technology they have, which is now coming here, sadly, they've destroyed their ability to reproduce, which is starting to happen in the human race as well. So they can't reproduce. So what they did is say, okay, guys, look, they went to see the government. Okay, sign this document. You will give you technology, and you give us your people, and we'll steal their body bits. Is it good? Absolutely not. It's an atrocity. But they were escorted. I was involved with the what they call the Galactic Federation, and people have different aspects from it. The one I work with is a lot of different. It's on different kind of dimensions, different time, space, and different dimensions. And it's a lot of beings. We're talking about millions of beings involved with this, because it polices a lot of dimensions to make sure that the free will doesn't overextend itself. Because, Tony, if you think about it, what's the difference between free will and education? So, think about this. Well, you come to this planet, so they show you a glimpse of, okay, we've got Anunnaki and Draconians are going to attach to you. You're going to have to learn how to remove them and do things. So, they're there really to, it's no use having a classroom without some things happening to wake you up. So they're there to basically, mess about with you, but they're going to be there. So is that a manipulation? No, it's an education. So you have to understand them, how to get rid of them, use the power of maps of intent, what I call prayers. But if you're coming down and a race says, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to paralyze you, take you on my ship and steal your sperm or your body bits, your eggs. Is that a violation of education? That's a violation. So I was at the meeting where it was discussed and said, yeah, it's a violation. So the Arcturians actually took them off the planet. So what they've done now is they're very crafty. So they come in portals. They're banned from this planet. But think about this. If they're in a portal where they can mess with you from, inside a portal, they're not actually in this time space. They're at a different time space, but still manipulate. So they're very clever beings, they got around that, but we've got to look at that in the future.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. And I always found it interesting, because that seems like that's always what you hear is the grays. But also you're a prominent member of the Galactic Federation. I'm really curious of how you became a member, and how do you become a member? Do you have to be a healer or a descending master? I mean, what do you have to do to become a member of that?
Well, there's lots of people involved who are very evolved. And I think, for example, Archangel Michael's part of it. We've got, I'm one of three. There's always threes of people. One of the three chairperson who chair it, and they have to have at least two there to be able to chair it. It's interesting. There is a lot of evolved people. People like John the Baptist, Mother Mary. All these beings are involved with this to make sure that we police things and make sure it doesn't go too south. And if things are going south, they've got millions of beings who are willing to get involved and shift things around. I mean, of course, the technology they've got there is way exceeds what we have down here. Same with the Arcturians. I mean, these pyramids they're building are off the charts. They're ancient technology, but stuff we wouldn't have here. We've just got all the nanotechnology and the icky stuff. Sadly, the Greys have given us that. It's like giving the keys, of a Ferrari to a 2-year-old. It starts destroying things. It's been very interesting.
And what information what do you discuss, and how do you bring that back to this world?
Well, they can take you physically, or they can take you. If it's in a different dimension, they tend to, release the soul from the body,
Right.
and basically you remember it. So you're there at the meeting. They're talking about, okay, what do we do about the graves? What do we do about this and that? They have things in place that, if too many of the children get into trouble at the moment, they'll probably ship them off the planet. So it's the way it is. Using ships. They do have things in place, and they're here to help us. But you've got to remember that, part of the plan of this planet is that why do Ascended Masters, why do Palladians come down here, why do Actuarians, why do these people have to actually physically be on the planet? And the answer is because it's free will. So unless they've got a messenger down here saying, hey guys, bring the stuff down, they're not allowed to get involved because it's free will. And it's kind of quite frustrating for them sometimes because they, oh my God, someone just tell us, get down here and we'll do it, but it's up to us as, beings on this planet that it gets over the free will thing. Not that it's not free will, but, because the average person doesn't realize the extent of all the manipulation, mind control, everything else, it takes these beings to actually say, okay, guys, we need help on this area, we need help on that. Otherwise, the planet would actually be in trouble. So
yeah. And do you, that kind of goes to where we're at now. How do you feel with the current environmental of this planet? How do you feel? Is the Galactic Federation worried about our planet when it comes to the environment or climate change or whatever you want to call it, how things are changing? We don't necessarily know exactly what the causes are, but are they concerned about our future when it comes to that?
No, they're not concerned about climate change because it doesn't exist. We're manipulating weather, and the planet's going through its,
Natural
36,000 natural cycle. So it's what they expect. It's just, of course, all these instruments are used as reasons why we have to do climate change. I heard the other day, that babies and kids are having heart attacks because of climate change. Oh, okay. Figure that one out.
Yeah,
it's interesting, so can't go into that too much, but, there's all sorts of, silly things. Even my father talked to me and said, well, the BBC and the WHO said that there's climate change. We've got to really do something about it because it's getting into trouble. But it's not, it's, I wouldn't worry about the climate change. I think it's, it's the people on the planet and their mental state, mental health, and the rest of the instruments that are on the planet that are not so good. There's plenty of things going on at the moment. Climate change is the least of my worries.
Right. Well, what is the Federation worried about then? Or are they at all about our species?
More about what's happening now, about basically becoming infertile, and a lot of people passing because of what instruments were administering at the moment. They're pretty worried about that, especially for the kids. So
yeah, it's crazy. Well, you said this one book. What was it here? The History and Truth of Healing. I with the last 10 minutes that we have together here, I want to ask you about this. Throughout human history, we've come across many types of different diseases and viruses that, the Black Plague, and always throughout our history seemed to something every so often, it comes and wipes out a large portion of the human species. Then with HIV and AIDS, millions of people died, and then, the list goes on and on and on. When did humans begin to start manipulating diseases versus natural diseases?
I think it started even, around the Babylonian times, mainly Atlantean times. It's all this stuff is gain of function. It's looking for diseases that act faster in the body. How do you deliver them using solvents? How do you bind them to a cell? And so, this has been going on forever. For the last, I would say, 40 years, the nanotechnology, the nanobots and all these type of things, they call them, we call them Morgellons, but They've been around for a while, and we've been monitoring them. I've been working with them for the last 14 years. And, they transmit, they receive. They're 0.1 of a nanometer in size. They have microchips inside called CMOS, which is complementary metal oxide transistors inside. And you think, well, how can you get a transistor that small? Well, it's nanotechnology, it's new technology, and they grow them. And it's also bound with nylons and different plant materials, and also silicates. And so these things, they put them in people's bodies. They've been testing them, using satellite frequencies. Now it's all out there anyway. So it's the thing really. This book really explains, the greys and how it came about, and the black goo, and explains the whole thing. And I think it's an interesting read, especially if you do have some of these diseases. It's nice to understand that, you don't normally have diseases that are really big killers on a planet. And I think the other thing about it as well, Tony, is that, if they give you technology from a different planet, the problem you've got is you don't have the herbs here or the natural resources to actually heal it, because it's from somewhere else. This planet, when it first arrived, so, the Prime Creator puts all the, plant life and animal life, everything on the planet that you need to look after it. But then, oh, hang on, they're manipulating it. So, of course, that's why some of these diseases, there's no cure for it. Even Epstein-Barr and herpes, there's actually, there's drugs that help, but there's no cure for it because it's a pathogenic infection. A lot of this is gain of function.
Yeah, I actually was diagnosed years ago with Epstein-Barr, because I think I get, was it mono, and I ended up getting mono, and then years after, every so often, stress or whatever, I would just start getting sick, or I felt sick, and finally I moved out here to LA, and this one doctor was one of the few people that actually worked with Epstein-Barr, said that, you tested positive for it. And I'm like, oh, what is it? I didn't even know what it was at the time. But it still kicks in once in a while. But yeah, it doesn't. Doesn't go.
Well, it's like, it's a pathogen. The stealth pathogens exponentially replicate. Epstein-Barr pathogens replicate slower, but HIV, when it replicates, it does it exponentially a lot faster.
Right.
But it still damages the body. It affects the eyes. It can affect the liver. It can affect a lot of things. It's crazy, and it could also get in things like muscular dystrophy. Normally comes from Lyme disease, because what happens is one of the co-infections of Lyme is Epstein-Barr. Gets in. What happens is if it gets in the muscles or the connective tissue, your immune attacks it. Of course, you got swelling, and people say, well, why is my immune attacking itself? Well, it's not. It's attacking something in your body. It doesn't attack your own tissue.
Right.
It attacks something in the tissue that's not welcome. And that's where people don't realize. It's interesting. It's really interesting.
Well, for the people that really don't think that humankind would infect their own people. I mean, if you look back in history, just the white people actually infected many of the Native Americans with smallpox, and U.S. military tested a lot of chemical agents on their own soldiers back in the day. So yeah, it's definitely something that human history proves that we test on our own people. And do you feel like sometimes it's a population control? Is it just a DNA changing of DNA? I mean, what do you think?
No, I think there's a population. I mean, they're huge. I think with the deep state, the Illuminati, whatever you call them,
right?
There's a population. They want to control the population for sure,
right?
And they're doing a great job of it.
Yeah,
and manipulating. If you look at the mind control going on this planet right now, it's just nuts. And the saddest thing, I think, for me is that, it's now finally got to families separation, vax versus no vax and mask versus no mask.
Right.
You name it. And, I encourage people out there. It's interesting because I had a chat with my father, and I kind of fell out with him because he always shames me. Like, oh, you went bankrupt. How disgusting. Oh, never mind. Just money. Who cares? And, oh, you did this, you did that, Anyway, this was Easter Sunday, last Easter Sunday. So anyway, I wrote to him. I said, well, our conversation was both passive-aggressive, narcissistic. And I said, all you ever try and do is shame me. You should look at your own thing when we were young and, pointed some things out to him. So I didn't speak to him for and I said, I don't want to speak to you for 6 weeks because I'm pretty disgusted. So I didn't. Anyway, he went south and, oh my God, I feel like an abuser. And so anyway, I was talking to him. He said, well, I just want you to understand that, I see things differently. I said, look, Dad, do I believe in the stuff that's going on? No. Do you? Yeah, you listen to the BBC and the Who. I said, so who's right or wrong? And he goes, well, I said, do you want to know the answer? Nobody's right or wrong. There is no right or wrong. Yeah. Your perception of what you understand to be great for the planet is from the research you did. And my perception is very different because I use actually scientists and top, leading scientists, not people who are getting paid off. So our perceptions are completely different, but no one's right or wrong. And so, I said, stop shaming me, for my beliefs, and I'll stop shaming you,
Right.
And he goes, oh yeah, you're right. I do apologize. And, and I encourage people, at home as well, you've got to really understand people's perception is their perception. If they want to do things or they don't, that's okay, But
and that's what I love about the free will. And I think, people trying to be always right is the divider of what is wrong with this world. Because we're not always right, but we're not always wrong. And I agree with you that, the old saying is agree to disagree.
Exactly. Yeah. Your perception of what's going on is your perception, and that's okay. But you can't shame someone for it. But also, I encourage people to set boundaries as well, because if people do shame you, don't be a people pleaser. I used to be. Years ago, I used to invite some neighbor around. Oh God, I don't want them at my house again. And then they come here, and you're absolutely exhausted in the night because they've just like suck your life out of you. Now we're not doing that anymore, and I don't do it. And people think, well, isn't that mean? It's not. I love the person from a distance. Do you want them actually in your space? And the answer is no, because it's going to affect you personally. So, my answer really is: do you honor yourself enough to not have that person? Because you should, because you deserve better than that. Everyone does, And so, I always encourage people to just be around people who hold the space for you, who love you for who you are, who get you. And the people who don't, it's okay, let them go because, you still love them, without condition. But boundaries are important, I think, right now.
There's a lot more things that can break that bond than something like this. I don't think, it's as important as not you, but most people think it is. But
No.
As on our way out, so tell us, what do you think people in these times, that they can do for themselves to bring some healing, bring some spirituality into their own lives to better themselves? What can they do at home, alone, by themselves, in a group? What can they do to better their lives when it comes to their spirit and their body?
Well, my personal opinion is, this has given a lot of people ample time to be able to do their spiritual practices. So, if you do Pilates or yoga, they all help. If you just meditate, spend some time meditation, slow down. One of the things that always concerns me is this social media stuff, because it's reptilian energy. It's very addictive. And of course, they manipulate the mind to put high drama things, and people get addicted to high drama. I'm going to watch the next thing. I'm going to watch, and that goes with truth seeking. That goes with everything. I always tell people, look, go with your discernment. Is this good for me? And if it's not, don't do it. Don't listen to it. But I think if you switch all that stuff off, because people get so caught up with, Facebook, YouTube, you name it, they get caught up with it, and really get back to your sovereign self, get back to you, think about your life, and actually just take some time, like you said, with gifts. Everyone's got a divine gift. Everyone's got a divine plan, even if it's just coming down here and loving people and just shining your light. That's a divine plan in itself, and I've got people who do that, I've got one lady who works for a corporation, and she stays in there because she knows that she's making a huge difference to a team, and the people around her. And I think that's wonderful. You know, you don't have to be the famous healer. You don't have to be a famous painter, writer, whatever. You know, you just be you, you know. And I think, you know, I encourage people to, you know, do their practice, look for something that's fun as well. You know, I've started cooking a lot. I love cooking.
Oh, great.
And, you know, and it distracts me because, you know, I always do this work. And so it's nice to just get the peppers out and the rice, whatever you're doing, and start cooking. And, you know, it's such a joy, you know, because I've got joy with it. You know, when people eat it, they're, oh my God, you know, you should be a chef. No, it's okay. I'm not a chef. You know, I need a recipe, like, you know, number one.
Right. 2 scoops.
Whatever.
Add an extra one.
And I'll just put a bit more.
Right, that's me. I'm always like, put a little extra in there just to.
but you know, if you're a gifted chef, you'll just have all the style. You need, you know, they won't measure anything. They just know. You know, it's a knowing. It's like with me with healing. It's just a knowing. I know what's wrong with somebody. I can see it. I can remote view into the body and see like organs if they're sick. I can see cancer tumors, and you know, that's my gift. But you know, do some things that really, you know, just go out in trees. We have 42 acres, 20 minutes down the road. We just sold a house. We're going to build a house there.
Nice.
And it's all trees. But one thing I've learned is that if you sit amongst trees, they're all around you. You know, you just feel that angsty energy. Oh wow! You know, you just feel it disappear. It's gorgeous. You know?
It's one of my favorite things to do is go up into the woods and just sit there and hear the wind go between the trees and stuff. That's my biggest meditation that I can do.
Oh yeah, I love it, honestly, Tony. It's amazing. And you know, we've got a big fire pit. You know, it's pretty, you know, my father-in-law passed about 6 months ago. He was actually so close to me that, you know, I've never had anyone so close to me, and it's been a massive loss for my wife and myself, you know. But he was such a close friend, soul, you know. He was Actorian as well. So, you know, but when he passed, you know, he built this thing and we bought it off Mandy's grandmother, and now we're going to build a house there. But, you know, just to have that is just such a blessing, you know. I don't need anything else. You don't need all these fancy things, fancy cars. It's just, like you say, the trees, you know. It's beautiful.
Well, all right. Well, so people can go to your website, and it's right at the below, globalenlightenmentproject.com. You can pick up all these amazing books. I'm sure you can schedule a service with you. And what else do you have coming up that people can join in on and be a part of?
Yeah, you can do one-to-one sessions if you want. You can also do specialized groups. We have up to 20 people. We speak to them all first. It normally lasts about 2 hours, and then we do the healing after. And we also, 3 times a week, I have a healing where it lasts an hour. We cover most things. It's Monday morning, 9 a.m., Thursday, 5 p.m. Central Time, and Saturday, 11 a.m. Central Time. And it's by donation. I always tell people, look, if you don't have any money, just please come on. That's what it's there for. You know, I've been without money. I know what it's like.
Right.
So, you know, please come on. You can register. You can come on, you know, see how you like it. If you enjoy it, great. If you don't, you know, then you don't have to come on again. But I want to make sure, you know, it's always been my motto, everyone deserves a healing, money or no money. So, you know, it's really important. We do those, and we get about, each session we have, we get about 20,000 people looking on YouTube, and about 8,000 on Facebook, and on Zoom, I think we get a couple of hundred or whatever, you know. But it really is, you know, have a think about it. You know, it can only help you, you know. And we also have a monthly clearing that starts tonight, where, you know, every single night I put a portal around people, remove any empties, clear them within structure, give them energy, clear the biofield, Akashic records, detox the body, clear the lymphatic system in the body, and do 9 heart shock releases every single night. And I think that's an instrument that's really helped people through all this, because they've been doing it for a while. You know?
Well, great. Well, once again, you have impressed me and been a great guest, and thank you as always. And you'll be coming back, I'm sure, in the future. Right. You win a prize.
Tony, thanks for having me. We're going to rock the house. Bless your heart.
Well, thanks. And then when I'm ever over there, you haven't invited me, but I want a home cooked meal. Now that I know you're a chef.
Oh, I'll be getting ready.
Right.
Put on the sleeves, and actually, I burned myself the other night. Look at that. But I love cooking. Yeah, absolutely. You should come down, Tony.
Oh,
especially
I
at the property.
Will.
You know, we're building the house, and We've got cabins down at the moment, but when we build a house, it'd be lovely because people come and stay, and
Oh,
it's
wonderful.
got it's got an outdoor kitchen as well. It's got
Oh,
a
my
bathroom
gosh.
there for the cabins, and we'll have our house there as well. So
I
I'm really
can't wait
excited.
to. Hopefully, I'll get to see it one of these days. But well, don't go
Yay!
anywhere. We're gonna finish this out, and then I want to have you do a promo. So, but for everybody out there, thank you guys for tuning in. As always, here on Truth Be Told every Friday at 3:00. Don't forget to tune in on Monday at 3:00 for Robert Hensley's Minuteman Report, and then Bonnie's show on on Wednesdays at 3:00 for Truth Be Told Transformation, all about spirituality, the gurus and the healers and all that good stuff. But I had the pleasure of interviewing today Christopher Macklin at globalenlightenmentproject.com. Until next time, we'll see you then. Take care. Bye. This has been another episode of Truth Be Told. Thank you so much for watching. Recorded live at UBN Go Studios in Burbank, California. Join us on social media. Facebook, Truth Be Told Radio. Instagram, Truth Be Told Paranormal. Go to Truth Be Told Worldwide for more information on upcoming shows.